Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another video. This is Dash L Rose. I am back to talk about the future of pennies. Yes, the future of pennies. I'm going to be talking about the future of pennies and all of that and kind of theorize. It doesn't mean it's 100% true, but kind of theorize on kind of like where they end up in the future. I will also be kind of talking about some other discontinued money too. I might even share some with you guys if you guys want. Well, not if you guys want. I mean, I'm gonna show it in the video, but if you guys are interested, you guys can check it out. But yeah, I'm going to be talking about that in this video. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell. I've been wanting to do this video for a while now, but been busy, so I haven't done that. I have another one I want to talk about too. The other one actually might be really good news for people, so I'll be talking about that. And once again, if you guys are not, interested in me talking about this stuff, then you guys could click off the video. I do reviews and Let's Plays. I do that stuff. I know some of them have been kind of slowed down a bit, like the Let's Plays and stuff, but that's because I've been having Wi-Fi problems, but I have been uploading the videos. I'm almost done uploading my Once Upon a Katamari videos, but the internet sucks at times, but if it weren't for the internet, I wouldn't be having, my channel right now, so I guess there's that. But yeah, I have to, take it to my dad's and all that to get it downloaded. So it's kind of annoying, but, it's what it is there. But yeah, anywho, I will also be trying to finish up my Let's Play on my Stack of States game for you guys. Because, speaking of the US, I am doing that. So there is that. But, without any further ado, oh yeah, I forgot one more thing. You guys can follow me on Instagram and Threads. I'm also on X, so you guys can follow me on there. But yeah, I'm pretty much, I'm on there. I need to start posting more stuff, but I haven't really got around to doing it. But I'm trying to make that more of my post stuff. I might post things on YouTube occasionally, but I'm pretty much just gonna post probably on Instagram or X. So, yeah. But anywho, let's go ahead and actually get into this. So, yeah, the pennies, as you guys know, it is currently now discontinued. They are no longer making pennies. Apparently, well, they actually are making some pennies, apparently, they're making, 2026 pennies, but they're not being, released in, factories and all of that anymore. I found that out because apparently, this is kind of where I'm gonna start talking about the price of the pennies. Which I'll get back to that subject in a second, but I do want to kind of talk about the price for the pennies because people are kind of curious on, will pennies be worth anything, or will they not be worth anything? Because there is some money out there. There is some that, is actually worth a lot of money, and then there's some that's discontinued that's not really worth that much. And I'll show you guys what I'm talking about here in a few. But the pennies, though, however, there are some that are actually worth money. Some older ones, there are the silver dollar, pennies, or not the silver dollar. They're not silver dollar coins that are actual pennies, but they're silver. They're made of silver. That was during the war. We had the World War II going on, so the pennies were not made of copper, but silver, because they had to use that there. I think they actually used it for a couple years. So they used them for a couple years, but they used them more for like 1 year, and then the other they kind of used it here and there. So yeah, they kind of used it, but then they kind of just like went back to copper, which is interesting. So yeah, they ended up going back to copper. But yeah, the pennies though, that's the thing though. The pennies are there are some that are worth a lot of money, especially even the older ones. Because before Lincoln was on the pennies, those were probably worth a lot of money. Because I think it was, I can't remember what year it was, like I think 1909 or something like that, when he was first on the penny. I think it was to celebrate the year he was born. I think that's what it was, to celebrate the year he was born. So they did all of that, because they did a similar thing again in 2009, but with a lot more, they had a lot more pennies at that time, they started using that more, because I think it's because they started making more and people were using other coins, so they probably got a lot of them back in stock. Before that, a lot of stores probably held on to pennies, because back in the day, a lot of things weren't worth a lot, so you could go to like a store or something and buy like a candy bar for like a cent or something like that. It's kind of crazy how money worked, though. I'm like, if it was a cent, like, because there are also half-cent coins too, but from what was reading, there weren't any more than that. So I don't think there were any coins less than a cent, so I don't know. But this kind of leads into the 2025 pennies too. Now, some of them have been auctioned off. Some of them were auctioned off, and some people spent some big money on them because they were discontinuing them, so they're a little bit harder to find. However, this is kind of where I want to kind of talk about that. So the 2025 pennies, as for right now at least, are actually not worth that much, because you can still get them. You have to get lucky, but you can get 2025 pennies and all, and people have even regretted buying them for so much money, because they're so common. Well, they're not like super common, but they're not like rare either, and all that. And I think what made a lot of the old coins so valuable was because they had to be in good condition, for them to sell. And a lot of the stuff didn't stay in good condition. Some stuff did, but not very well, not very well. And I mean, it doesn't have to be usually in super good condition, but, you don't want, like, scratches on your coins. You don't want them to look faded, you want them to look at least nice. I mean, they don't have to be, like, shiny, brand new. I mean, brand new would probably get you a fortune with some of the stuff, like, not even just pennies, like quarters and all of that, like $half, which I'll talk about them in a second, too. All that stuff. You can literally get them and all that, that's kind of the thing, though. But, yeah, so it's pretty interesting, but, yeah, basically, though, yeah, so the 2025 pennies are not really selling for a lot, but I don't know, I would recommend probably holding on to the 2025 pennies, because I would say they could be worth something down the road, maybe. Because, like, maybe way down the road, like, maybe 20 years or something, they might be worth something. As for the pennies themselves, though, like, in general, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna be worth a lot or not. It's kind of hard to say, because here's the thing. The pennies and all that, the problems with the pennies is, well, they rounded up, the money, they rounded it up to, like, a 5 cents. Honestly, these companies could have rounded shit down too, but, of course, they're gonna use that as an excuse to round everything up, even more, so, So yeah, basically yeah, they that's kind of the thing. They make everything's getting rounded up more where it should be rounding down, because they basically discontinued the pennies because they were costing too much money to make. But now we're stuck paying for crap, 5 more cents, which is not a super big thing, but still. And actually, in theory, you shouldn't have to even worry about it. Like, they shouldn't be. I don't think they should be rounding the crap up at all. They should have kept it kind of the same. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess to be fair, maybe pennies are like ones, or like a you got like a nickel or a dime. You could like if you like wanted to, you could like I don't know. But the problem is you'd have to move it up if you were to discontinue it. So. That's kind of the thing too. It's like you can't just round up crap and all that like that either. Like I think they should have just rounded it down. Like I think that would have made more sense. But yeah, of course they didn't do it because they are greedy and companies freaking want money off of people. So if things aren't expensive enough now, which they've been for a few years now. They've been for a few years. I know that there's that whole that war thing or that thing going on with Iran and stuff like that, but people have been talking about on the internet. But I just want to clarify, yeah, things have been expensive before all of that too. So yeah, I'm not saying it's good to get involved with this stuff. I'm just saying, like people like to call people names and all of that, and this and that. I'm just telling you guys. I'm telling you guys, that this is that's kind of what they're that's kind of how it's been. Things have been expensive, but yeah, but rounding up crap like this is only making it worse. But that's the thing. That's more of the company's thing. That's not the pennies. That's the companies that are doing that. But I mean, actually, not all of them have been rounding up. Like I think I can still go to Walmart and buy stuff, and they don't round it up. So there is that. But I have a feeling that we're going to probably end up seeing, them get rounded up in general. Like, I think eventually everything's going to get rounded up to a nickel. And what I'm kind of concerned about here is, are we eventually going to get the nickels gone or the dimes? Like, are we going to get more into, like, digital cash? Like, that's what I'm kind of concerned about, like... That's kind of where, like, discontinuing pennies kind of comes into, I'm like, the thing is, though, there are, like, thousands of pennies, so I really don't see why they can't still use the stuff and all that to count change and stuff, but yeah, there are, like, thousands of, not thousands, take that, there are, like, trillions and trillions of pennies. Hell, there's probably more pennies on Earth here than there is freaking stars out there in space, So I don't know. It's just the whole thing's kind of confusing, but yeah, I'm kind of just concerned about that because I'm like I don't really want to pay cash online because there's so many hackers and all anymore. It's so easy to get hacked. I'm like, I want my crap to be in change too. Like I want to have the option, and it feels like we're getting kind of more into online. Because with the pennies gone, we now have the nickels, the dimes, and then the quarters, and then that's pretty much it. That's all we have. And I mean, yeah, I think there's also dollar coins that sometimes appear. Like I think last year, was that last year or this year? We got a dollar coin that was re-released. Like, I think a Sacagawea coin. Actually, I think it was this year. But that's like every so often you'll get a dollar coin, So yeah, it kind of, is a thing though. That's kind of the problem. It kind of sucks, in a way, But yeah, the thing is too though is the pennies too. Like I said, with value as well. Like I don't know again how much they would be worth. I would recommend at least, I don't know, I would probably just use a little bit of the pennies, like, I mean, I would keep some too, because you never know what will happen, but I would probably start trying to use them in some places, and all that. Eventually, yeah, there a lot of them are probably not going to or not let you carry pennies with you anymore. I mean, break time's not letting you do that apparently. At least this one's not. And I literally looked it up. Technically, you're allowed to still use pennies. They just discontinued making them. You can still use them. So I don't know what the hell that's about. I don't know why I can't just use pennies. They're. I'm not gonna lie though. The break time I go to, I don't know. The people there are kind of crazy. Like I was actually, going inside of there. Yeah, I'll talk about this more in a second, but I want to bring this up. Like one gal was like, I thought she was teasing this tall gentleman. He was like super tall. Like he was like probably like 7 foot tall, or at least almost. And he seemed kind of grumpy, like he was annoyed, like he seemed aggressive. Couldn't really tell at first if they were just teasing, because people do that sometimes. They just tease. But then, like he started getting kind of, not antsy, I mean aggressive. He got aggressive and all that, and she was like playing with him about calling the cops. I'm like, you shouldn't be joking like that, So, yeah, clearly there's some stuff like that. I mean, I haven't been to like other break times. I'm just saying, that's kind of crazy. They won't take pennies anymore. But I'm gonna tell you guys this though, that I can still see a lot of like small businesses like take pennies. So I think you can still use them. You'll still be able to use them. They just, like you can still use them. Heck, you could probably, if you wanted to. I mean, even if they discontinue them, you could probably still keep your stuff rounded down. You could still keep it that way if you wanted. You could probably still do that. It's just these big corporations and all that, like, a lot of them are gonna probably round everything up. A lot of them might not, do pennies anymore, but I don't think they're gonna completely disappear. Like, I think you're still gonna be able to use them, because again, like I said, we have mom and pop shops, we have, diners and all that, Some of them might give you crap for trying to give, pennies and all that, But, that's the thing, though, that's kind of the thing, it's just, that's where we're kind of, that's kind of what we're doing there and all that, and all that, but, I don't know, yeah, I don't know, I really don't know what the pennies, like, I don't know what the value will be, because there are some stuff that's not, really worth that much. Like, I'll show you guys kind of what I'm talking about. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys on Google here what I'm talking about. Alright, so this is what I was talking about. So these are the $2 bills. I figured I'd go ahead and show you guys some of the bills and stuff that are discontinued here. These are the $2 bills. But see, though, they're not really worth a lot. Now, those could be fake. They could be fake. But some of them actually are worth a lot. Like this one here. This one's worth a lot. Like, it's actually worth a lot. But yeah, some of them are just not really worth a ton. Like, I could go to a lot of banks and just get a $2 bill. Heck, I actually thought about starting to use $2 bills more. Because that's the thing, too. People are complaining about, the online stuff. So, like, I think we should start, just trying to use the stuff more, Because it's not going to go, because, that's the thing, though. People want to, have cash and stuff more. Like, I would say start, pushing more of that. I mean, having online cash is nice, too, like an app and stuff. But the problem is if the app messes up, or someone hacks it, you could lose all your stuff. That's the problem. But see, that one's like rare, and that's $130. That's a lot there. But some of these are not really worth a lot. But see, they're not really worth a ton. I mean, they'll give you some money, but they're not really worth a ton of money. But some of them are. And that's kind of the thing with the pennies. Like the pennies could end up being worth a lot. We don't know, because the pennies are technically made of copper. and none of the other coins are made of copper, so there's not really telling what it could be. But also, there's so many pennies out there, it may not be worth anything, That's kind of the thing. But like I said, the 2025 ones could be worth something because they're so rare. I mean, they're not like super rare, but they're not very, very common either, compared to the other ones because they were discontinuing them that year, so they weren't really making any more, So I don't know how many were made exactly, but I actually have a couple, 2025 pennies. I do. I kept some of them, I was searching a long time for it because I saw they were selling them on eBay and all that, and then turns out they were, perfectly fine. I mean, they weren't really worth a lot, So it's hard, say there, but now I want to show you guys some other dollar bills too. But see, there's also $500 bills. Yep. Which I think this one's got the Wilson on it. I think it's President Wilson, I think. Which I know a lot of people do not like Wilson either, but he's on the $500 bill. So you can get a $500 bill, which that one's actually worth a lot more. But they weren't as common either. There weren't that many of them. But they only made them for a short period of time, I believe, and then they kind of discontinued them. But yeah, there's like $1,000 bills. Now, some of them might be fake that they're trying to sell you on the internet, but trust me, these exist. But you can kind of see kind of a demonstration of what that looks like. And then you can get a $10,000 bill. Yeah, $10,000 one you could get. I forgot about the $5,000 bill. You can get that too. I think the 10,000 one, or no, was it the 1,000 one had like Chester Arthur or something on it. So you could get yourself that. And of course we have the $100,000 bill. Yeah, all these bills right here, except for the $2 bill, all of these are actually worth money. Like, all of these are. But that's the thing, though. They're worth money, but the $2 bill is not. And that's because they made so many of them. They're not really worth as much. And that goes for the penny as well. The penny may not be worth a lot because they have so many, pennies, People want more rare stuff, they want more rare, Now, I think if you had, like, a set of pennies and all, you might be able to get something out of them, but there's so many of them out there, it's like, I don't know if they'll be worth anything, But yeah, this one technically, too, I think this one's actually illegal to have. Only, like, I'm not sure. I think it's this one or there's another one. I'm pretty sure it's this one that's actually illegal to have. Okay, yeah, it is. Okay, it is this one. This one's actually the one that's actually illegal to own. So you can't actually own this one, yeah, which is kind of stupid, but also it says only 42,000 were printed, so I guess maybe they're trying to preserve it or something like that. But for people who are not in the US, I wanted to show you guys kind of the dollar bills. And I'll show you guys the coins too, because there are a few that are also discontinued as well. Not as many as the dollar bills, I don't think. I could be wrong. Like, for like cent-wise. Now there's probably people that were on different ones, but I was going to just show you the article with it instead, so you guys could, like, you'll go down and show you guys what I was talking about, but that, apparently it was starting to shove advertisements and crap at me, and, like, trying to, like, sign up to it and all that. I'm like, I hate that. That's something I miss about the old internet, like, you didn't have that crap popping up on you as much. Now it's like so much more. That's kind of the thing too. Like internet's become so much more powerful, you know. Oh shoot! I thought it froze for a second. Yeah, this one's technically illegal. Yeah, they're not really supposed to own it, so only like some can own it, which is kind of weird, but yeah, but yeah, apparently this is kind of how it is too with I was gonna say this is how it is with the with apparently owning a bald eagle feather. So if you own, I was somebody who grew up collecting feathers and stuff like that. Apparently, you're not allowed to own a bald eagle feather. They say it's because they're endangered, but I don't know. I don't know if they're still endangered or not. I feel like it's because it's the U.S. bird and all that. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but they won't even let you like. Apparently, well, I'm not saying you should burn a flag. That's technically, you're destroying public property, but apparently they get really mad at you for doing that. They'll throw you in jail and all that. That's actually more of Trump's thing than anything else. He's the one I think who's done that. But I'm just like, it's a flag. I get it. It's public property. You don't want people destroying it, but I'm like, I'm still like throwing somebody in jail and for a long period of time and all that for that. That's kind of stupid, but that's just my opinion. But I get it, it's a representative of our, nation, but also again, I'm like, you could probably just go to somewhere and buy another flag, and all that, I don't know. I just think it's kind of over exaggerated, but that's just me. But anywho, before we get back to the pennies, let me also show you guys the discontinued coins, because there's actually a few. There's not a ton, but there's a few. Now here's something you guys probably never seen before. Not a lot of people talk about this. In fact, I only knew about this because of there's I had a teacher who told me about this, Mr. Campbell from middle school. He told me about this. But yeah, apparently there was a half-cent coin. So similar to the pennies, it was discontinued too. But it ended up becoming worth a lot of money. But that's probably because they don't really make, they don't make them anymore, and they weren't really in good condition. And back then, I don't think they made as much of them. But that's before the cent. So I thought to myself, maybe there was something that was, smaller than a cent, but I looked up things, I could not find it. I don't know, it's just kind of interesting, Perhaps I should have asked my my great-grandparents before they passed. I didn't think on that, though. I did do a video, videoing, my great-grandmother, which I call Grandma Rose, not Great-Grandma Rose, because it was easier to say. And I had Mama and Papa. I just call them Mama and Papa, but yeah, they I actually didn't say too. Papa actually does have a $500 bill, by the way. He does. He actually has a $500 bill. He was actually able to he was able to get one. He actually got a $500 bill, which is pretty cool. He got it when he retired from the bank. Yeah, they're the same people, or at least, well, he doesn't really butt into this stuff. Mamaw was the one that did that, but they're the same, my Mamaw's the same person, I told you about that, like, kind of had that dog situation and all that, all that kind of stuff, that's kind of why I've been stuck here and all that. It's kind of a crazy thing, but it's about this page. I don't know what the heck it was what it was doing there. It was all getting slow and stuff. Can fake money be legal? I was gonna say if it can can it be illegal? I'm like, yeah, counterfeiters. But I don't know. I was gonna say, it's like, this is a fake dollar bill because Benjamin Franklin's eyebrow was like raised up. But yeah, that's pretty much, pretty much it there. What does it say? I'm trying to figure out what this says. Our system, I'm not a robot. What do you mean I'm not? What are you talking about? I don't know what the heck it's talking about. I don't know. Let me get to the coins real quick. Because I got a couple more I want to show off, and I guess I'll just leave here. Okay, apparently there was a discontinued 2-cent coin too, which is like worth apparently $78,000 for a 2-cent one. So they actually made multiple cent coins. I was gonna say, I would figure they would have to, because I'm like, a dollar bill, like if you owned a $1 bill back in the day, that you'd be like I think a millionaire or something like that. Like, it was crazy. Back in the day, I mean, I think like the 20s and all that, like 20s and like, 19 the 1920s and 1910s. I think actually before that too. I think you would be. But yeah, see that. Well, that one's only like $15. That's actually not worth a lot compared to the other ones. That one's 50. So I guess they're not really worth that much. Yeah, I actually did not know about that. So they're like 3-cent ones too. Here's a 3-cent coin. So yeah, it's a 3-cent one. Let's see if this actually did exist. Is it? Yep. But yeah, it did not last like a long time. It was pretty much through I think the 1800s, and then it pretty much disappeared. So it wasn't worth a ton. I mean, not worth a ton. There wasn't really a lot of them, but apparently there's 3-cent ones too. And I checked for 4, and apparently it's only like I think it was Britain. You could get them in Britain. So, I think they're like goat coins or something like that. So, not in the U.S., but that's still interesting. The thing is, though, I could go on and on with the coins, but there's probably so many discontinued ones. I'm just gonna go with the ones I have already, heard of. See, here's another coin, though. Now, this one, like the $2 bills, you can still get at the stores. But you can still get these at the stores. This is, I think, John K. He's one of the presidents that was assassinated, like Lincoln. But yeah, they discontinued these coins too. But you can still use them in stores as well. Same with $2 bills. You can use them in the stores too. But there are some, like I said, right here that could be worth more than that too. I don't know. I don't remember when they discontinued them, but they also had like Buffalo nickels. Those have been discontinued since Obama was president. Yeah, they discontinued those a long time ago. I mean, Obama hasn't been president since 2016. I think they got discontinued in like 2012 or something like that. I had some Buffalo nickels. I actually used to have a bunch of them, but then, Tana, my dad's ex-girlfriend, stole a bunch of them, so that kind of sucked. But But we ended up getting some more, so that's good. Also, apparently there's a Benjamin Franklin one too. I gotta say these coins kind of look nice. It's a South Africa one. That's interesting. So that just shows a bunch of different coins that are no longer around. There's a rare one there. There's one more coin I'm gonna show you guys though. Oh, I hope I was recording that part. I think I hit the record button. I mean, just in case I didn't, I showing off the like $50 coin there, so that has John K on it, the guy who was assassinated. May he rest in peace. He was, I think, the youngest president. But yeah, I'll show you guys the other coins, but I could show you guys I think I might show you guys the Buffalo nickels too. I'll show you guys them too, the Buffalo nickels, and I'll show you guys the last, dollar coins, or the cent coins that we have. Hang on a second. Here you guys go. This is like pictures of the coins here and all that. But yeah, these are like Buffalo nickels. So they have like an Indian on it instead of a president. But they discontinued these when Obama was president, because they've been discontinued for a long time. I'm not sure why they discontinued it. I guess because there's not enough. They want more of the presidents on there, but I felt like it was kind of nice to have them. I'm pretty sure that's when they were, discontinued. I don't know. I'll look it up and then I'll go to the dollar coins. Okay, apparently no. I was gonna pause the video for you guys, but I just wanted to clarify. No, it looks like they actually discontinued it a long time ago. I could have sworn they discontinued it around that time, but then again, they showed this here, and they brought it back for a short period of time. So I don't know. There. Here you go. This is the last coin. This is the Sacagawea coin here. I was reading on the $50 coins too. Apparently they were discontinued and then they were brought back and they were discontinued, I think in 2017 or something like that. That's what I was reading. But it looks like they're bringing back the $50 coins again, which is interesting. But here's a coin here, though. These are really nice coins, though. Like, these are really pretty ones. Like, I like the gold and stuff in them. I'm not really sure who this person is exactly, but I don't know. There was a Powerpuff Girl episode on that. Apparently a gal is stealing coins and all that, and she is very, very rude. And then the Powerpuff Girls kick her butt and explain exactly what Sacagawea is. I haven't seen the episode in a while, but it was so satisfying to watch. That's something that I will say cartoons miss in today's world. They miss like giving messages and stuff like that. Like, I kind of liked that. But yeah, that's pretty much it there. That's the dollar coins. But yeah, there's like silver. There's like, I think, some gold looking ones. I have a few, actually. I kept a few of them. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is at all. Like on this. I don't know who this person is here. It says down there, Milmore, dollar coin. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know. I don't know. Let's go back to the regular stuff now. I hope you guys enjoyed that a little detour there. But I wanted to show off some of the, coins and money that's no longer around, I know it makes the video longer, but it's also history stuff too, and I'm talking about money here. Might as well show off some of it. But there's probably a lot more of it. I mean, there was those couple cent coins right there as it is that I didn't know about. In fact, I might actually have a few of them. I don't know. I think I might have a few of those coins with that gal with the ponytail on her head. So yeah, it's pretty interesting though to see that. But she was actually on a lot of stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much where the coins are at right now. I mean, they still have a lot of them, like the quarters, the dimes, the nickels, and then sometimes we get the dollar coins, but they don't really make a lot of these coins anymore. That's the problem, And like even the half dollars, they don't make them anymore. So I feel like we need to kind of push more into, buying stuff with the coins. But we can also hold on to some of them too. That's what I did with the pennies before they discontinued them, before they even announced they were discontinuing them like over a year ago now. Because I think it was in March when they announced they were doing that. I still was collecting them, but also spending some of them too. I wanted to have my own and then have, a collection, but that's kind of the thing, I feel like we need to push more into that stuff and not rely on the internet as much with this stuff. I'm not saying you can't do it because maybe people are afraid that they're gonna lose, money, which it makes sense. But, I'm just saying, like, especially with the coins and stuff, like, I feel like we need to start, using them over in the stores if we don't want everything online, But yeah, I don't know. But as for the pennies, too, I'm gonna say my prediction is I don't think they're really gonna be worth a lot. Like, I think some of them will be. I don't think they're gonna be worth a ton. I think they're gonna end up being like the dollar coin or the $half coins and stuff. I mean, they are bringing those back, but I think they're bringing them back like in like, like I think they're gonna use them in the U.S. Mint and stuff like that, so you can still get them, but you can't really, they're not gonna be producing them as much. Same with these coins, they're still making them, they're just not really, making a ton of them anymore. Because, they're out, so they're just making them for collectors, So, yeah, but that's pretty much where we're at, though, with the pennies and stuff like that and all that. It's crazy, but yeah, I don't know. And like I said, as for the store stuff, too, yeah, I definitely think they're going to start not requiring pennies as much. Like, I think they're just going to start doing that, but I think a lot of mom and pop stores might still do this because corporations are different. Corporations are not, they're not allowed to, like corporations are not allowed to really, they have to follow certain rules and stuff like that, like, especially like remodeling stuff like, and all that, when we get those shitty remodels of the stores and stuff like that, that's not always the people working there, that's usually the high ups that do that stuff, so it would be their say on some of this stuff, but sometimes the stores can say it too, and the restaurants and all that, but, yeah, I don't know what it's gonna be like in the future with these pennies, but I don't think they're gonna be worth a ton, but I don't know, but I'm already pretty much set. I mean, I've got a few I'm missing. Well, I mean, I don't have a lot of the old ones. Well, I do at my dad's, but they're my dad's. I can't just take them, I'm not a thief. I don't steal stuff. But I do know he, he would want, he wouldn't want me to take them. That's why they're at his house. I did put them in my safe, but that's because I didn't want, them getting stolen, so I put them in the safe for him. But anywho, I will go ahead and let the video go. But yep, this is the future of the pennies. Like I said, not all of this is 100% confirmed, but some of it has been. Like they are, like some of the pennies, or some places aren't taking pennies anymore like that. And some of them are not really worth a lot of money, like the 2025 pennies like people were thinking, because some people have reported on that. Yeah. But anywho, though, I'm gonna go ahead and let the video go, and I'll see you guys later. Dash Rose signing off.